Hi everyone, Dr. Victoria Scarbo here. Everyone around the world will be dancing in the street down in Chicago, down in New Orleans, in New York City. All we hear is music, sweet music. There'll be music everywhere. Hey guys, that was for you, Linda G. Little song. We'll be dancing in the street. I've been dancing in my chair. I danced a little bit in my driveway. So Joe Biden has been named or called, I guess, as the president of winning the election. I know there's terms and stuff. The heck with the terms. He's in. He's in. And even more importantly, Trump is out. So let's see what's ahead for Joe Biden in November. Okay, the sun. Ah, it feels like the sun came out, right? It feels like after darkness, we have the light. This the sun is depicted in this card as um a male. The sun is often associated with the sacrificed God. Jesus, Horus. Oh, is it Horus? Jesus, Horus, Mithra, Lug. This is, and in a way, this is Joe's kind of homage to his life. This is the last step of his journey is to be um, the president at this time. I guess on some level, he was divinely ordained to do this through all the challenges that he's faced, all the death that he's had to endure, and the pain and the suffering. So here he stands, victorious in the sun. Let's see what's crossing that. We have the Knight of Arrows. This is the Knight of Swords. In this deck, it looks like we have, I think it might be a peregrine falcon. I'm not sure. But it's some sort of falcon or hawk. Hawk is spirit. Hawk is spirit. Um, the Knight of Arrows in this deck is the Knight of Swords. So he needs to watch. He needs to be careful. Trump did say at one of his rallies that within 5 days, Joe would be dead and Kamala would be president. And are you ready for that? Or something like that. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen at all. I'm just saying that he is in a certain amount of danger. And that's really nothing that surprises any of us, right? Doesn't surprise any of us. Let's see what's at the root. The Two of Bows, this is called decision. Well, a decision has been made. A decision has been made, and it's been made by the American people. And it was a relatively close decision, but yet a decision that's been made. And, you don't need, if you're measuring out and you have 5 coins in one side and 5 coins in the other, it doesn't take another 5 coins to change, right? It only takes that one. And so it doesn't have to be a big blue wave kind of thing. Everybody's like squawking about it. Wasn't a blue wave. They didn't win everything. They thought it was going to be It is a blue wave. We tend to forget that the wave started back in 2016. And this is just, it's kind of like when they show the corona numbers in America. It's like you have these like things and then they go up and then they're like this and then they go up, right? So it's we're starting at a higher level is what I'm trying to say here. We're starting at a higher level. Let's see what's in the past. We have the Three of Arrows. This is heartbreak. This is heartbreak. He's had a lot of heartbreak. He's had quite a bit of joy as well. Um, Many times in his life, when the victory was at hand, it was snatched away in some way. Very powerful. We have in the sky. We have this card is the Five of Cups. In this deck, it's called Ecstasy. It's not mourning like it is in other decks. But we have dancing. So there's dancing in the streets, right? Just like Linda G said. And many of us actually. I said he was gonna win. I got shit for it. Oops, should have said that. In the immediate future, we have um, the Hanged Man. So there is this, even though he's been named, he is not empowered to really do anything at this point. He has to wait it out. He has to look at life from a different perspective. There are delays. And so, but it's a natural delay anyway, even if it wasn't for Trump's craziness with, wanting to sue everybody and his cousin. Um, there's still delay between the actual win and then actually becoming president. And so I think that that is going to be a test of his faith as well. How it's seen from the outside, we have hearth fire here, a bunch of people sitting around, um, the the sustaining the spirit, right? This was all of us who were in our separate little tribes, uh, you know, on the, in front of the fire of spirit. What has kept us? What has kept us through this dark period? It's been our ability to um, sit around the fire of spirit. The readers that you watch, the connections that all the readers have made, the friendships that have been forged, the community that has been created. That's still here, guys. The darkness of Trump um, is almost gone. And yet there's still a lot of challenges ahead that we're going to need each other for. So we'll still be around the fire. Um, and there will be times when it feels like, did we really move forward at all? And the answer is an unequivocal, absolute yes. Domestic situation. We have the Four of Vessels. I think these are people who are, despite all of this, people are in bad shape. People are stuck. We're in the middle of a pandemic. The last time anybody got any money from the government was $1,200 back in, what was that, May? Um, $1,200 doesn't even cover like half of people's mortgages. I mean, so despite the fact that a decision has been made, we have a lot of work ahead, and there are a lot of very upset people, not to mention the people who voted for Trump. Now, some people voted for Trump because they didn't want to vote for Biden, or they were worried about Kamala Harris. Um, some people really believed in him and believed in his whatever that was. So we'll see. We'll see. But despite all the happiness, people are suffering. And I think that Joe knows that. I think he's well aware. Hopes and fears. Ace of Pentacles. I think this is both a hope and a fear, depending on what side of the aisle you're on, or what side of the philosophy you're on. a new structure in the way that we make money, accrue money, spend money. It's just a whole new structure of that, post COVID, post Trump, post the Republican cabal. Um, it's changing. It's changing. And for some people, it's like, oh, finally. And for some, it's like, oh, shit. So, outcome, we have the Queen of Stones, the bear energy. This is this is probably Kamala, being a mama bear around him. Although it is stones, and stones is earth, and Kamala is actually an air sign with a fire moon. I feel like the women around him are going to be very, very helpful and protective, very protective of Joe. Let's see if we can pull a major arcana. We have the Five of Bows, the Six of Arrows, and the Hermit. And the Hermit. So I feel though the Hermit card here is talking about the time that he has spent, I think, in his basement, hermited in his basement, is actually, is actually going to come in handy in the way that he ultimately, that he ultimately presides over the government. Okay, so that was our friend Joe. That was Uncle Joe. And there's a thing, a fire truck or something. Not to put too fine a point on it. There's always some sort of alarm when I say things. Okay. When I say things important, I should say, not necessarily when I say things. Because then I'm talking all the time. You'd never hear me. All right. So let's do Trump. And I just happen to have my Rider-Waite here. Let's see November for Trump. Now that he has lost his bid for re-election. All right, Trump. I was just sort of feeling into him. He feels a little despondent, but I actually pushed past him um, to his son, and I felt. I think we've been seeing him kind of like blah, 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 and everybody thinks he's coked out, Don Jr. there, and it's very possible. Um, but he is doing that from a place of terror. He is terror. He is terrified that his father's going to lose. All right, let's see Donald Trump. So we have him in his cushy, rich, um, sort of the idea of the self-made person. I almost feel like this is Ivanka. This card often engenders that energy for me. Um, so I would say that his daughter is by his side at this time. I think she is trying to hold space for him. Let's see what's crossing that. Um, all his dirty tricks, it's all coming back to him. And of course, now that he's down, people are going to go after him, and it's not just the the left. It's going to be the right. The right already started coming after him with the Lincoln Project. It's only going to get worse. His own party is going to want to. It'd be interesting now that Biden has won, what Lindsey Graham is saying, because before they knew that he was all in with Trump. So we'll see how fast he changes his tune. So this is total destruction. This is total destruction, decimation. He feels like he is at the worst part of his, like the nadir of his life right now. Um, he has the Empress in the past. Life has been good to him. The Empress is the card of life, but it's also the card of Russia, according to Marianne, from Revealing Light, and that would make sense too. But if we just take Russia out of the picture, life has been good to him. He had a he didn't have, I realized he had some traumatic stuff as a child. We kind of, all of us have some sort of something that we could look back at and know that it was significant in our lives. But then we, continue on our lives, and we don't necessarily have a silver spoon. We have to make our own way, right? And so he didn't really have to do that. The way was made for him. Um, and he just pushed the boundaries. And I think that's something that we're going to realize in retrospect is what he was a tester. He was testing the boundaries. He was testing just to see how far we could go and what needed to be improved upon. And there's plenty. So Biden's going to have a busy job ahead of him. Yeah, emotional ups and downs. I feel like he's in, various states of, up and then down and then angry and then sad. And it's just like, yeah, that's definitely Ivanka with him. That's definitely Ivanka with him. The immediate future. He's going to continue to walk the path of his illusion, his delusion, his dream, the big dream that he sees. And he's going to feel like he made America great again for 4 shining years. His perspective is not going to change. He's going to think that, of course, everybody's against him and he's the big victim. Bunch of motorcycles going down the street now. The wah, wah, wah. Sorry. Um, and so he's gonna hold that cup. He's gonna hold that cup. Tea and sympathy. That's what he wants. How it's seen from the outside. The world is ready to move on. It's like, yeah, we put that behind us, and now how are we gonna work together? How are we gonna make this, how are we gonna work this out? How are we gonna work this out? I think the Biden win was a lot more than just, beating Trump. I think on a certain level, like on a spiritual level, it was about uh, conquest over the fascists. We did it in the 30s. We went to war. It's a different world now. The battlefield is our consciousness, and who holds the key? Who are we going to look at? Who are we going to listen to? One of the reasons he was so potent and so powerful was because people listened to him. And then the media gave him all, I mean, for 4 years or 5 years, we've had a steady dose of Donald Trump. That changes people. That changes people. For some people, it makes them awaken to what they're really here to do. For some people, it points out a wound that they did not realize that they had, or patterns they didn't realize that they were um, living until him. And some never felt like they ever had hope. And he embodied that hope. for some people. He embodied that they too could be president, just like Obama did. Finally, a you know, a black boy or a black girl could say, "Oh, I could see myself being president." And it wasn't like Donald Trump was a good old boy. He was far from it, but he was able to reflect them back. He acted like a mirror and they saw themselves. And when he was in power, then they were in power. And when he had the power to hurt, then they had the power to hurt. How many people stopped being on Facebook because every time you would say something about Donald Trump, they would attack you, right? Or if you said something good about Donald Trump, people would attack you. It was like suddenly we had free reign on hurting whoever the hell we wanted to. And for those of us who didn't really want to do that, we suffered the other side of that, the blows. But it's changed us. Domestic situation, we have the Ten of Cups. It's interesting because in Biden's reading, what was the card? I forget the card. Oh, the Four of Cups. So there's this like feeling in America of like, oh my God. And in it's like feeling in America is like, oh my God. So we're experiencing both of those things, I think. Half and half, I guess. Half and half. Let's see, hopes and fears. Yeah, he's afraid of justice. And he needs to be afraid of justice because he's been a criminal his whole life. Well, his whole life, his whole career. He's been a criminal of one sort or another. He's been a scam artist of one sort or another. But he's been a big dreamer too. He dreamed his dream. I dreamed a dream. I won't sing that song for you because, first of all, I don't think I can hit the notes. Second of all, I don't know all the words. Um, so, and maybe you taught us something about that. Never say, never let anything stop you. Sometimes that comes in handy as a lesson. It's not necessarily a great way to live your life, but it is a lesson. Bless you. Michael sneezed on that twice. For that's like the siren going down the street. Yeah. Okay. So justice isn't going to take long to catch up with Trump, and I wonder what that means. Might have something to do with the. Oh, that might be all the legal stuff. That might be the legal stuff, and maybe they take it to the Supreme Court somehow. But he is out. He is out, and that's not going to work for him. And then we have this underneath it all. So yeah, so he's done. He's done. He's really bad. He's really bad. There's an eclipse coming up on the 14th of December. It's at 23 degrees of Sag. It's a new moon. Um, it's a new moon south node eclipse, and south node eclipses are about letting go of something. And it's a new moon, so it's a new cycle in a way. So it's like a beginning of a letting go process. And I feel like it's on his south node and his moon, Trump's south node and moon. So I feel like that's the time that we're going to get a big dump of information on him. I think the people who have been holding back to send the information, his taxes and all that stuff, all the real dirt that they've been holding on to, they're going to let go of. They're going to let go of. I think on some level they're trying to destroy him because if he goes to another country like he said he's going to, he might be a fool, but he knows a lot about American security and, he's been privy to all that information. They can't really let him leave the country and go to Russia, or they can't let him leave the country and go to Saudi Arabia. They're not going to let him do that. So they're going to take him down and perhaps they're going to imprison him. I never saw him in prison until this moment that came to me. So I think that had he left, he had opportunities to leave before he had the decision: is he going to go through, or is he going to let it go and escape? And he made the decision to go through. And because he made that decision, I think that he's going to be perhaps incarcerated in some way. I mean, it's not going to be like Leavenworth, but it's probably going to be some sort of house arrest, or island arrest, or Mar-a-Lago arrest, where they allow him to live and poop on his golden toilet, and maybe do a little golfing, but not. That's it. Like perhaps his prison will be that he can't be heard anymore. As soon as you take that away, he's done for anyway. So he's done. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, guys. Today is the 7th of November, and 11/7 is an 18, and you add the universal year. Today is a 22/4 vibration, master spiritual builder. Today we start to rebuild. This day, this moment. What do you have to rebuild in your life? We certainly know we have a lot to rebuild and build in this country. So we're going to be busy for a good decade or so. Find out what you love to do it, and then figure out how to get paid for it. And I think we'll all be much happier. All right, guys. Everywhere around the world, I'm a dancing in the street. Take care. Love you all.